so you also will have the options of purchasing accidental insurance, accidental life insurance. So this is in the event, and I don't know if you can tell what all this is, but this is in the event that, say you were a scuba diver, and you're scuba diving on the Great Barrier Reef, and there's a fire, forest fire, elsewhere in Australia, and they come scoop you up and dump you on the fire by accident, and that's how you meet the end. All right. If you were enrolled in accidental insurance, that will probably cover a lot of those expenses. I know it's pretty funny, but it's just in an event of an unlikely or catastrophic type of incident. If it's offered to you for free, some of it will be offered to you for free. Excellent. I'm not going to tell you not enroll in it, but there will probably be other options as far as life insurance, to take advantage of that will cover most of these expenses anyway. Same goes with business travel. So some of your organizations, particularly if you're going to be on the road a lot, may offer or encourage you to enroll in business travel insurance. If your job is, say, 70% travel, the employer likely is going to cover that for you. But if you just need that extra bit of, I don't know, you feel like you need to be covered because you are a terrible driver, or you just have bad luck on the airplanes, and you may want to enroll. Again, they may cover it for you, they may not. Okay. I know. So sweet. This is my favorite movie. So your retirement plans. Now this is one thing I am going to be pretty adamant that you enroll in. You are all going to retire one day. Your Social Security likely is not going to cover your retirement expenses and not going to allow you to retire at 45 and live most comfortably until you die at 98. Okay, so you do need to be contributing to your retirement plan. And there are different types of retirement plans out there. The majority of you are going to be seeing 401ks and 403bs. There are a few companies still offering the pension plan, and you'll be enrolled in that anyway, so you don't have to think too much about it. 401ks are for your corporations, your for-profit entities, your 401(b)(3)s, or your nonprofits. Right? Basically, they're saying they're a retirement plan. There is where your funds are going to be dumped into. So you need to contribute. I'm not going to tell you how much to contribute, but you need to contribute. Now, a majority of your employers will also contribute. The majority of your employers will also contribute. That's free money for the most of you. So you will know ahead of time. So for those of you that are in salary negotiations, you should know ahead of time. If you don't, you should ask, does my employer, or do you contribute to my retirement? If so, at what percentage? And when do you start? Because some may not contribute till after 6 months. Some may not contribute till after a year. Some will start contributing immediately. Some employers will match your contributions. So if you decide you want to put in 5% of your salary into your retirement, some of your employers will decide, hey, I'll match you that 5%. So again, it's essentially free money. So know about that going into your job offers. What is their contributions? Because that could impact the bottom line of your offers. Yes, sir?
What happens if you switch jobs?
Good question. Okay, so the question was, what happens if you switch jobs? A couple of things can happen, actually. So one, depending on where you work, you may or may not be vested with your retirement funds or with your stock options, which we may or may not cover later. So what that means, if an employer is contributing money to your bucket of funds, then say if you're vested 100% by day one, then that means if you leave and go somewhere else, you can take all that money with you and just transfer it to another employer or whatever. You have ownership of that money. If you're not vested until, say, after 6 months or a year, or you're only vested at 50%, that means that you do not own that money until you have stayed enough time with us. So if you leave after 6 months and you're not vested, then they just get all that money back, essentially. You still keep what you've contributed. All right, they're not going to take that money. but anything that they contributed, you may or may not have access to. So if you say a lot of employers, say for instance, they use TIA-CREF. If you go from one employer that uses TIA-CREF to another employer that uses TIA-CREF, then they're just it's all gonna be the same fund. All right, if it's different, different entities that are controlling your money, you need to transfer it over. You need to make a transfer, and you will not be penalized for that. However, if you take all of your money out of TIA-CREF in forms of cash to put it in somewhere else, then you're going to be taxed on that amount. Okay, so just do a transfer so you don't have to pay any money. Is everybody with me? Yes, ma'am.
Earlier you said we could look up financial stuff in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Can you find it online, or is that more something you find after you get a job?
Good question. Did everybody hear that? It depends. So a lot of employers will have all their benefits information online. Some won't, or they'll be so buried in a bunch of mess that it's really hard to find. So we'll get to it in a little bit. But if you ever have any kinds of questions about your offers, about your enrollment, about the benefits, about anything related to your employment, you need to contact your human resource person in your organization. That is what they are there for. That is what they are paid to do. Okay, so don't just go online for enrollment and I think I'll do this, and this sounds okay, and I'll just haphazardly enroll. That's what they're there for. Yes.
When you enroll for all this graphic learning, somebody there explaining that to you, or am I going to
Call your daddy. Yes. So our question was, when you enroll, will there be somebody there explaining it to you? Again, it depends. So for the majority of you, I don't know about the majority of you anymore. A lot of you, when you start work, you're going to start in training. And they're going to go over a lot of stuff, hopefully including benefits. Okay? And then you actually will have 30 days to enroll, and you will enroll on your own most likely. The majority of places you'll probably enroll online, so you're probably not going to have to fill out a form. And so there will not be anybody there. However, if you have questions, again, or you would like a human being there while you enroll, go to HR. I do that. Or call my daddy. Okay? There's an employer here in Fort Worth, I will not name names, one of my great employer. When they hire somebody new, they hand them, no joke, it's like the thickest notebook you can buy. So Jenny Neely-Feld in your, it's thicker than your notebooks. I mean, it is like this big, okay? And it is packed with all kinds of information. And they say, there you go, welcome to work. You have 30 days, all right? And it's so overwhelming. So it depends, okay? Know your HR professional. I mean, you know them. Yes, ma'am.
Say you were invested 50% and they fired you, would you lose that 50%?
If it depends. If they lay you off, then you will not lose it. If you are fired because you are you're just not a great employee, then most likely you will lose it.
Are there protections against that? Like, say they just didn't want to pay it?
It depends on your state. Yes, yeah. So no, I mean, if you ever, that's a really great question. If you have any problems with your employer, if your employer is doing things unethically, if they're not paying you what you're supposed to be paid, every state has a employment entity that takes care of going after those employers so that you don't have to hire an attorney yourself. You can most certainly do that. But the Texas, Employment Commission, I think is what they're called, will do that. That can be a whole other hairy animal. What other questions? Yes, ma'am.
So employers will either contribute or match your 401k.
Mm-hmm.
So matching, I understand that, but contributing, how does that work? Are you just going to collect an amount?
Yes. So her question was, you said some employers will contribute, some employers will match. So what does contribute mean? So you may go to work somewhere and they'll say, regardless of what you put into your retirement, we're going to contribute 2% of your salary, or we're going to contribute 8%. It'll be a base amount, or they'll contribute a certain percent of your contribution. So, yes, Kevin.
Do you know how the 401k for international students, like when you start getting a 401k, will you get
So you get a visa, that's a really good question.
like a residence status or something, or?
I don't know the answer to that, but I will find out for you. I do not know the answer to a lot of questions, but I promise I will find out. Yes, ma'am.
How do you get invested or the doctor's averages in the whole
That's determined by your employer.
So the employer will say,
Yes,
in our benefits, blah, blah, blah.
yes, yes. So her question was, how do you know if you're vested 100% or not? That will be determined by your employer. Okay.